Very good morning and welcome to today's live market profile and order flow trade analysis. We are at episode 250, and before I share today's analysis, I would just like to go through a quick disclaimer that trading involves substantial risk and is not suitable for all investors. Also, the information which I'm sharing is for educational purposes only and cannot be used for any trade related activity. Okay. So let me quickly share my screen and let's look at are there any potential auction development paths which we can identify today from intraday trade perspective. Okay. So first of all, I'm just quickly jumping to the volume profile chart. This is the hourly charts, and what we see here is okay. So this is the balance high. This is the balance low. And what had happened is there was an exhaustion seen around the balance high. Okay, so this was the trade pattern wherein you could have gone short, keeping your stop loss or keeping your targets either to the other side of the balance. Okay, so this was the target of the balance and which was completely achieved, and massive selling came in yesterday. So this should give an indication. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So since last 4 hours, continuous selling was going on. Okay, and earlier I shared that this is the buying zone. Okay, so when the auction will come here, again we might be seeing some push up to the higher side. Okay, but with this selling, this is giving an indication that the buying which happened in this zone. Okay, this is not a good good buying. This is more or like late or laggards just trying to enter the auction and trying to take the markets higher. Okay, so that's what has happened overall. So let me just add the data points of yesterday's auction, and this is the balance low now. Oh, sorry, I think let me delete this bar. This is the balance low. This is the balance high, and overall we have a good distribution getting formed, multiple HVNs, multiple LVNs, but what has happened is the auction is getting rejected in the previous balance. So this was the previous balance, and this is where again buyers came in. This is where buyers came in exactly around value area high, and then the auction closed a bit higher. Okay, so today what we need to observe is whether the uh, just a second. So whether we are seeing balancing within this range, whether we are seeing acceptance within the previous range, or whether we are seeing rejection from the previous range. Okay, so these are the three scenarios which we need to observe currently. Okay, and more or less again this is where demand zone is there. We have got one more low volume area node in this zone, and then we have got two prominent gaps. Okay, so today we might again see some sort of sideways development, but you may never know. We might also, the selling pressure can be, we can be seeing continuation of the selling pressure. Okay. Okay, so now let me just jump to the market profile chart, and on the market profile chart what you are seeing currently is, so some of the reference was the poor high. Secondly, this low was also weak, where I shared that this was exactly at the half back and where again buyers came in. So this low was weaker and the high was weaker. Yesterday is what I shared. The auction actually opened around the EOC of yesterday, and it was just one time framing higher, which saw some sort of exhaustion once the poor high was taken out. Okay, so first data point was this level, or this reference was taken out from intraday perspective. There are also a couple of other data points which I shared, which was the HVNs. So that these are the HVNs, and overall, if you see how the auction developed, so this HVN earlier it acted as the level of support. Okay, auction just went higher. It tagged the weaknesses. It cleared the anomalies, and then again the auction came down towards this particular HVN. Okay. Once it came down, there was also one more HVN here. So this level was also the level of resistance, which got turned into support, and then again it got turned into level of resistance. So yesterday was a very good learning day for me. I don't know whether you observed this, but basically it was one good trade was from one HVN to other HVN, and then this should be. I was looking for this to act as the level of support, but then the auction just cleared down. So when this type of development happened, this should give you an indication that this particular support has turned into resistance, and then you can try to tag, take a target of taking a short with the first target of the low, second target of this week low, and the third target of the G2 low. Okay, so this is what entire auction has happened, and if you look where the auction stopped. So this was tagged, the second HVN was tagged, the week low was tagged, and reversal came around this particular HVN. That's where the again buyers came in, and then the auction reached higher. Okay, so I did not trade it yesterday, but overall, this was what should be my or would be my overall trade plan. Okay, so today, let me do one thing. Let me just remove all the references. So one of the reference is the high of yesterday. This week low is gone. This HVN is gone. This HVN is intact. We have got one more HVN around the lows. This HVN is also gone. We have got one more week low. Okay, one more week low. One more HVN which is still intact. Okay, so overall what we need to observe is the selling activity which came in. So there are one single print. There is only one single print which is here. So overall what we can infer is this will be one of the references for today. So we need to see whether we are getting rejected and continuing lower from one HVN to other HVN. So this is the first auction development path which I'm looking at. Second auction development path is the auction opens around the single print and it continues higher. Okay, this is the second auction development path. Third auction development path is it finds again rejection and then it just closes with some sort of balancing. Okay, so these are the three auction development paths which I'm looking at to happen today. So the auction will open in next sort of 30 seconds. So let's see which way the auction develops. Okay. Some comments from Nitish. Why that HVN around 12,754 is support and bounce there almost 100 point. This is short covering or buying there in K period. 12,754. So this was more of a long liquidation. It was not a short covering rally. Basically, the massive selling which you see is because of the people. So basically, what has happened is this day and this day, it was just going up. Okay, it was just going higher, and so these buying was weaker buying. That's why those who bought here, they would have kept their stop loss below this low or around this high or somewhere in this zone. Okay, so that's why when this low was tagged again, stop loss hit was done and then the option cleared to the upper side because market found liquidity. So these were all the liquidity zones. Okay, these all were liquidity zones. So that's where market found liquidity and then the auction cleared the orders and then the auction just went higher. Yeah, so it was more of a long liquidation type of a break. It was not a short covering rally, it was more like a long liquidation break which happened yesterday. Okay, so Okay, so I also deleted the other auction path, but currently the reference which I'll be keeping is the single print around here. And let me now expand this. Okay, so one HVN, other HVN, and let me also, there would be also a couple of HVNs from the VSA chart. Yeah, so this is that HVN. We have got two more HVNs on the upper edge. This is around the depop, sorry, POC of yesterday, and we have got one more HVN here. Okay. So the auction is open within yesterday's range. The low is weaker. Currently, the low formed is weaker because it's exactly at the close of yesterday or the settlement of yesterday. So auction is just chopping around. So let it chop, and this reference should be intact. So delta has become positive. No, it's still flat. Nothing much has changed. So buyers are stepping in. About 5,000 contracts have been traded. We're just 2 minutes to go. So what is happening is the massive selling which came in yesterday. This selling which came in, again, so it will try, the auction will try to repair, and we need to see whether we see some sort of exhaustion around this particular zone or not, level or not. Okay. So, but one data point is today's low is weaker. Yeah, Nitish, yeah, today's low, current low is weaker. Option is just going higher, let it go higher. Don't fight the trend. Commitment of traders from buyers is higher compared to the sellers. So absorption of supply is going on. Delta is positive. So if you observe from the order flow chart, these are the zones where a lot of selling orders are there. These are the zones where a lot of buying orders are there. So who is buying and selling in the first 5-minute candle? Okay, these are the people who do that STBT, BTST sort of trades. Okay, so the auction is closed here. Auction went higher, so that's why they sold their positions. And those people, who have shorted, so basically who have shorted the auction yesterday, they are currently, their buy orders are getting hit. So that's why we are seeing some sort of buying and selling activity. Okay, so the first 5-minute candle is closed, 7,900 contracts traded, positive momentum happening. Auction closed above VWAP. So now we are nearing the single print zone. So let's see whether we find acceptance or rejection around that single print zone. So some selling activity happening. Let it happen. So where the auction is developing, it's developing around this particular zone where again, some sort of buying came in and then they took the auction higher. Okay. So we are again open in that same zone. We also have a single print here, this sort of an excess. So we need to see whether this excess remains or not. Yeah. So volume flow is drying out. So 7,900 right now, it's just 2,300 contracts. So the dull sideways development is happening currently. The low is weaker, the low is poor. High is also good, secure high. So let's wait for 2 more minutes and see whether the high is getting tagged or not. Okay, so some selling activity is happening. So we are in a sort of a resistance zone. So there will be stops building around this particular single print. So Nitish, I don't use previous week or month profile. What I do is, this is what I do. This is an hourly chart. Based on the market structure, that's how I create the volume profile. I don't use previous week's volume profile to answer your question. So many people do use weekly, monthly profiles, but I tried it, but I was not able to understand, or I was not able to make any sense out of that, because for me that was sort of an over analysis. Yeah. So always remember that you are a short term trader, an intraday trader. If you start looking at monthly, weekly, and all those profiles, it will add some sort of confusion or some sort of biases. So that's why I'm just focusing on what I'm able to understand and what makes sense for me. Okay, so the VWAP is getting tagged. The auction. So where the auction halted. Okay, here. Yeah. Let it chop. even if it tags the low, that's fine. So if you want to take a short trade, wait for this candle to close below VWAP and some sort of VWAP. So we need to see some rejection around VWAP. If we see that, then you can take a short scalp trade, keeping your target of today's low and stop loss maybe above this candle high or above VWAP. Yeah, that's a risky trade, but yeah, those who are looking for a trade, they can take that trade. Okay, so some sort of selling is happening. So the high is intact, it's not been tagged, and now sellers are stepping in. So if you see the volume flow, 7,900 to 3,500 right now, volume is increasing. So let's see whether the volume is greater than the previous candle. Also, good volume came in yesterday, good volume flow, and we are just getting rejected around the value area high. So some good excess is getting formed. So there are less momentum buyers, but some momentum selling is seen. So wait for a VWAP test or a rejection around VWAP. $3,500, 3,300. Yeah. Some rejection is seen. So yes. Yeah, now you can enter a short trade, keeping your stop loss above this candle target of this today's low. So this is your risk, and this is your reward. 10.32 points. So 1:3. volume flow is drying out. But as currently selling is strong, selling pressure is there. So where the auction is halted is around the low. Okay, so this is the low. So visual reference where again buying is happening. So currently this is also weak. This low is weaker, current low. Not this low, but this low is what I'm talking of. Where again, at a visual reference where buyers are stepping in. So expect some sort of choppiness action. And this will try to shake out the weak players who have entered the trade. So what will happen is auction will try to reach higher and then it will come down. Yeah, so sort of a shakeout is what is happening. Okay. So we'll be seeing some buying orders. So those who went short, I think your stop loss orders would have been hit. Okay, so the auction closed above VWAP. So the first trade was in a sort of a losing trade. So now this candle is should be closing below VWAP. If it closes below VWAP, that should give an indication that this activity was just to shake out the weaker players. So see now selling is coming in. Now if VWAP supports this, we need to see whether VWAP supports this or VWAP rejects this. So momentum sellers are coming in, but their selling is getting absorbed around VWAP. And overall a doji candle is seen getting formed. So some sort of rejection is seen at VWAP, not acceptance but rejection. And yeah. So let this chop. You can take a counter trade, take target for the long, keeping a stop loss below this candle or below VWAP. So a lot of indecision going on, but currently the delta is turning negative. So the long trade, that also the stop loss will be hit. Okay, so you should be out of the trade now. Again, the selling pressure is coming in. The negative momentum is increasing. So two trades today shared, both your stop loss might have been hit. So I think then you just refrain from trading anything now. So it looks like the candle will be closed below VWAP. And then I need to see or observe that how is the tempo. So some sort of acceptance been seen around VWAP. 7900, 3500, 3300, 2800, 1600. So volume is drying out. An auction closed above VWAP. So accept some sort of choppiness action. Wait for either the single print to be taken out or the low to be broken. Yeah. Then you can see for any trades. But right now, only choppiness action is going on. Volumes are not supporting the price action which is happening. Okay. So something which I shared earlier is if the auction closes above VWAP, then we should see continuation to the higher side. But it looks like it's just chopping. Yeah. So yesterday was sort of a trend day or an imbalanced day. So today we need to see whether we are seeing a balanced day or an imbalanced day. Okay. So with that, I would like to end the session for today, and let's catch up on Monday and see how the auction develops. Okay. So